Hi, I'm Charles Michael, and welcome back to the Charles Michael Hour. Today we have our very first super special guest who uses they, he pronouns interchangeably, I suppose. For consistency's sake, I'll be using he, him pronouns to refer to him throughout this episode. He's a bit of a jack of all trades, which I love in people, being a sort of jack of all trades myself. He's active in suicide prevention, queer anarchism, archivism, mainly cybersecurity-oriented archivism, music production like mixing and mastering and stuff, and historical linguistics. He is my personal etymology consultant and has worked with me on many things that are currently unreleased but will come out soon. It's my pleasure to introduce Ryan, aka Rhinozz. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
I'm alright.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. It sounds a whole lot longer when you read it out loud. Yeah, I do a whole lot of... Hey, can I swear here?
Yes.
I do a whole lot of shit. So it's, yeah. You first knew me because of etymology, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do was, I thought it would be cool to have this sort of like animated sort of series of shorts that could like make etymology accessible to like a wide demographic, maybe
Yeah.
like,
You know, that is awesome because
but
okay.
I gave up on it.
No.
I gave up on it because my laptop, well, I spilled soda on the laptop, and then I lost like half of the progress because I completed half of the second episode. So it's probably gonna, like be a very, very long time before I approach it again, because it was just becoming a slog to animate anyways. So
Yeah.
but that's what I wanted to do, and that was gonna be Lily's etymology, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, stuff happens sometimes, and then projects, you like have so much done, and then it gets killed, and then you just can't start it again. Yeah, I like the concept of making etymology accessible for a bunch of people, because for a bit of context, I don't know if your listeners know what etymology is.
It's the study of words.
Yeah, it is the study of the origin of words or phrases or just sounds people make. And it falls under this branch of linguistics called historical linguistics, where you're looking back at how words and sounds changed over time. And recently I was thinking about like our DMs and stuff, and our Reddit chat messages, which is where it started. And now for like a small group of friends, I do like a similar type of thing, but it's through text because I'm not an artist. And I tried to make etymology accessible, but you've shown me the episode and the script of some of the words for Lily's etymology, and that's like a really good way to, I guess, teach. It's most of my quote unquote teachings come in the form of random, really long messages on Discord. So it's it is. It's sometimes confusing, but yeah, you're doing a good thing. It is very fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God damn it! Now I have to get back into it. Get back into it.
Yeah.
Lily's etymology number 2. Here we go. Thanks a lot, Rhinozz. It's all your fault now.
Now you have to work for like 50 hours on a project, and it's great. 50
I'm
hours straight
kidding.
on
I'm
one
kidding, of
video,
course.
and
I'm
it's-
kidding, of course. But yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be sort of fun, and I thought, there's, I mean, unless we do explore like the etymology of swearing, which I don't think, I mean, I don't suppose why not. I just think, you know, that the whole novelty of it is that it's animated, and it's you know, no sane television network is gonna pick this up. So
Yeah.
it's something for me to it was something for me to do for YouTube, and it was just so easy for me because, you know, the original one was just a 40-second long audio file that I had my friend Alle Holcomb record,
Yeah.
and so it was so easy for me to do it in like the span of a couple weeks from I think the day after she recorded it to about a week or so before I put it up, because I wanted to originally what I wanted to do was shove it in front of a short film that I'm still making.
Yeah.
But my friend John Howell, who works at a local record store, owns it, called The Record Guys, here in Abilene, Texas, 701 South Leggett. Please give them business. Small business and stuff. Local business.
Oh, yeah.
Mom and pop shop. So he owns the place. He's my friend. I've known him for over a decade. And I showed it to him. I showed him the finished sketch, if you will. And he saw potential in it, and he said, "You should put this on YouTube, and it'd be like, oh, I forgot what it was, but it's some sort of YouTube Shorts thing that his kid watches." And I did, but you know, I don't subscribe to the whole YouTube Shorts ideology. But you know,
short form video.
yeah, but that's why I put it on YouTube, and fortunately, it was correct. So
Yeah, the short little videos that like teach people, it's the kind of, because while I'm also not too much of a fan of short form video formats, they're if you can teach someone something in like 40 seconds, then that is incredible. It teaches a lot of people so much better than, say, like throwing a really long string of text. Like how if you ever been like following a tutorial on text, and it's unclear of what to do, and you just want to see someone do it, or you just want to like hear it in your ears. And,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like how to do it.
And
it's
the pronunciation, too.
Yeah. Yeah, the pronunciation of like in linguistics especially, it is nice to know how, because okay, there's this whole separate side of like etymology, right? And it connects with a field called phonetics, where you are attempting to transcribe how a word is pronounced, because most words in like etymology, they're passed not via like writing them down, but spoken. I will use an example that I wrote 2 days ago. It is the word bug, and if you were to like read this etymology, it would kind of make sense in like English, because bug goes back to a form with a vowel O in the middle, so bog. That makes sense. And then you start getting earlier, and it's spelled B-O-O or B-O-G-G-E, and you're like, okay, is the E silent? Does the G mean anything? It is boggy, or bog in later dialects. And then you go to other languages, you have no idea how it's pronounced. Low German, B-O with 2 dots above it, that's an umlaut. And then G-G-E. How do you pronounce that? Bugga. So there's a whole side of like, I guess, hearing how the word is said that like kind of makes it clearer. And yeah, that's a good thing that video is like great for.
Yeah,
That's why I really liked Lily's etymology, that first episode.
No, but seriously, I now that you're making a case for it, I think I actually will resume production on Lily's etymology. It might need a complete overhaul from the... No, seriously, the original storyline for Lily's etymology was that, and I don't mind giving away spoilers, because I'm going to overhaul it completely and just make it some, like, genuine teaching tool. But what it originally was going to be was it was originally going to seem like an innocuous sort of teaching tool, and then later on the series would get darker and darker, so Lily's attorney husband, would file divorce. No, he would cheat on her, and then he would file divorce, so Lily would teach the etymology of the word infidelity, and then the word divorce, and then the word custody, and then the word and then the word prescription, because she falls under...
Oh my god.
Yeah, she would fall under an addiction. And then, she'd teach the word addiction. And then, she would just become less and less bright, and then the visuals would also become less and less bright. That's what I wanted to do. Now I don't... Yeah, explaining it out loud, Jesus Christ, that's that's pretty bad.
That is really dark. That sounds... It would be interesting to, like, approach this and say, oh, yeah, I want to know the etymology of the word attorney. And that's the first episode. Because that's the one you've released, right?
No, the one I released was just... It was... Lily says the etymology for the word video, which is Latin in origin.
Yeah.
So, but attorney was going to be the second one, and that's where we meet Francis.
Yeah.
And, Francis has PTSD, so the third one was going to be comfort. And Francis just abruptly cries and collapses into Lily's lap, and as he's crying in Lily's lap, Lily tries to teach the viewer the etymology of the word comfort, and then through that, Francis and then Lily, they divorce. Francis cheats. Francis and Lily divorce. Lily gets addicted to prescription pills, and the way that it would have ended was...
Is it just death?
No.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I haven't come up with thankfully I hadn't come up with a formal ending, but the final word would have been darkness, because there's no hope left.
So you just don't know what happens to Lily.
Yeah, Lily just sort of becomes a hermit and stays in her apartment. She quits her job at the library, so she has to go through the word unemployment too, and she has to live off SNAP food stamps and SSI payments because she has autism. Oh yeah, she goes through autism too. Actually, I do genuinely want to explore autism and stuff like that. Yeah, considering I have it.
I remember you talked about the R slur in one of our earlier chats.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing. Another project entirely is I wanted to do a documentary on the word content warning. I'm about to use the word retard, and being that it's an ableist slur, I thought, okay, well, during the production of the first episode of Making Waves, which is an audio drama that, I make, which, you see how many projects I embroil myself in. Yeah. You see how much pressure I put on myself now. So, during the production of the first episode of Making Waves, one of the older drafts of the script has the main character, Patty, calling Sheila a retard. And, Alle, who is Patty's voice actor, who is also Sheila's voice actor, and who is Lily's voice actor. I think she voices 17 characters total in my universe. Didn't want to do it. with good reason, she made a case against using the word, and I don't like using the word. You know, like, so I thought, maybe there should be a case made against using the word retard, and so I think so. So that's what I wanted to do, was a sort of documentary about the word retard, and then I got embroiled in a documentary about They Might Be Giants' 2005 children's album, Here Come the ABCs, and I just put the other stuff aside because that's my main priority at this point. And also a cartoon pitch that Alle's graciously helping me with. Also my main priority.
So if you can't tell, by the amount of like topics that you introduced at the beginning of the episode that I do, I also do more than that, but those are the ones I do. Like I said it in the message. Those are the ones I've been active in for years, and they're not the ones that come in phases. There are a whole lot more things that come in phases. I am undiagnosed with any mental disorders, but I do have a copy of the DSM-5. So, psychiatry, suck my dick. I have something, brain goes fucky.
Well, I would suggest you see like a professional and get some sort of seek out a diagnosis of something. I don't believe in self-diagnosing or anything like that. So I would.
Yeah. I'm still iffy on it. So it's I'm just chilling right now. We're fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's etymology is the main focus. Teaching it is awesome. I'm glad I could provide at least some temporary form of motivation for it.
Of course,
burnout sucks.
Because like I just
burnout so much.
I just thought, like, nobody watches this YouTube channel, and I don't think anyone's gonna listen to this podcast. Probably until the documentary about the They Might Be Giants album that I'm working on, been working on it since June, goes up, because I think that might actually get me some attention, and it might actually, do something, considering it's actually, informative about something that people care about. They Might Be Giants, about something that's interesting, and it's, a part of their history, and I think, it's a part of my history, considering I grew up listening to the album. And I interviewed people that worked on the album and the music videos, on the DVD, so that should do something right.
Yeah. That reminds me that I'm gonna entirely topic switch. I hope you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, there was a project I did. Oh God, was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago? And for a bit of context, right? The operating system MS-DOS, like DOS. When you try to get into it, it wasn't like something Microsoft wrote themselves, because it was Microsoft DOS. It wasn't. There was also other DOSes. There was PC DOS by IBM. IBM didn't write that themselves. They contracted it. IBM usually didn't contract stuff, but let's ignore that. So it was originally licensed and then purchased by a guy named Tim Patterson. He worked for Seattle Computer Products in Seattle. That was very close to Microsoft and Bellevue. And they basically, I went down this rabbit hole of for like 2 years. This is what I call a phase, by the way. The 2 years of scouring the internet and scouring connections to developers and people about like any information I could find about Tim Patterson's operating system. It was called 86 DOS at release, and internally it was called QDOS, for Quick and Dirty Operating System. It is something I have an immense amount of data for. I have interviewed a bunch of Microsoft employees and got court documents and listened to full talks, and yeah, it's obsessive. And I have not released any of it, and I don't have any plans to. I don't know
Why not?
Well, I don't know where to release it.
The easiest option is to write a book, because
writing a book is hard and long. So it's like I could try. Well, I actually did at one point start writing a book. It was in the style of old text files that you would find on bulletin board systems.
Yeah.
You know what those are. I have like a forward, and it's a really bad forward. It's like, I've often heard that a guy named Gary Kildall was stolen of his fame, overshadowed by Microsoft and Apple and IBM. It's a claim that I agree with, and it's some really weird intro. I give a quote that probably wasn't. It's probably not attributed to the right person. I say, in the words of some professor at the Texas School of Law, I take no responsibility for anything, and if anything you do with this book ruins you for life, or makes your dog bite you, or anything else, that's just tough. That's definitely not by some guy at the Texas School of Law, but I'm saying anyway. And then I wrote like a chapter, and I gave up. I think the hardest part about writing a book, right, is like citations, because I feel like I have to be so organized with stuff, but I'm not an organized person. So like I give an introduction to like the owner of Seattle Computer Products, Rod Brock. I give an introduction of his life. I like talk to his grandson, and then I like had information in my mind, but I didn't know where it was from, and I didn't really know if it was 100% right. So then I it got confusing after a bit, and I had to go scour through all my old sources, which I kept in 20 different locations, and it was a mess. But yeah, it's another project where someone like interviews people. I guess. I'm pretty sure your interviews are like in person and a whole lot more organized. These were phone calls and emails, I think.
No, I'm based in Texas, and the people that I interviewed were over the phone, and I emailed a lot more people. Well, not over the phone, over the phone it was. Not over Discord. It wouldn't be over Discord. But like, let me just show you something that this is what I do to cite my sources. I basically do it as I go, and this is what I do, and
this is organized.
Not really. It's just a very, very long list of hyperlinks, really. And for those of you who are listening who can't see it, once the documentary comes out here on YouTube, I'll put it in the description of that so you can see. It's basically the sources of like all the research that I've done since June, and then there's going to be the video sources, and then email and stuff like that, a special thanks section, stuff like that. So that's the sources, that's the citations for the albums of all time installment. That's the name of the series. It's actually going to be a series of documentaries about albums that I really like.
Yeah, that is awesome. Oh my god. This is really cool, actually. You talk to a radio station?
No,
KMSU 89.7 FM?
what that is on November 18th of every year, this radio station in Minnesota has a 12-hour long marathon where they play nothing but They Might Be Giants for the entirety of 12 hours, and then they interview John Linnell and John Flansburgh for 12 hours. No, for an hour each. But for 12 hours, they just have this sort of marathon every November 18th. And so the last November 18th, 2022, for those of you counting, I listened in and I tried submitting some questions, and I put in a request for one of the songs that appears on Here Come the ABCs, and I said, when I put in my request, I said, by the way, as I'm listening to this, I'm animating some sequences for this documentary that I'm doing on Here Come the ABCs. And so they mentioned it on air. They mentioned that I'm doing that, which is actually very cool. So I think, that was very cool of Tim and Shelley to do that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I've all my stuff has been like in the past, like from etymology to history and 86 DOS.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had this era where I was really good at like just finding email addresses or like phone numbers, which is scary, and you really should not put that stuff on the internet. But these people were like 80. So they were just available, and I like, so I'm also an archivist, and one of these versions of like 86 DOS, there was never any development versions out, and I contacted a guy named Pat Apalka. He's mentioned one time in a court document. He is like 75 right now. But he was on this Seattle retro computing like news group, and his email was like through there, and I was like, hey, did you develop for Seattle Computer Products? And he was like, yeah. And then I emailed him and I called with him for a bit, and it turns out he just had some copies of 86 DOS sitting around that were like beta copies. If anyone's even remotely interested, I don't know how many people who listen to this or would be interested. It's on BitSavers by Al Caso, bitsavers.org. You should check it out if you're into retro tech or archiving stuff, I guess. Yeah, BitSavers is awesome, and they do a lot of cool stuff. They also have really old computer pictures, which is cool.
Yeah, see, this is really why I think you should, if you have this stuff, you really should put it somewhere. Maybe you could do, if you don't want to do a book, you could do a blog, or you could do like a bunch of YouTube videos where you explain it all, and then you can because one of the people that I really look up to, especially in the whole archival interview sort of thing field, is a guy named Mark Lewison, who is a very famous Beatles historian, the world-renowned Beatles expert, and he's been at it for almost 40 years, and the lengths that he goes to try and find people that may have met the Beatles or even just John and Paul for only like one day in, say, 1962 is insane, because it's sort of it's on this kind of it's on this, just archivists are really just so cool. They're really cool people, and the people that that go out of their way to try to find people who will, you know, there are people that I really look up to, and I this is something that I need to bring up sooner or later, because excuse me, I don't know if I can put this in the documentary. Well, I can put it in a little card that appears at the end of the documentary, but what essentially it is okay, so context. I asked John Flansburgh, one half of They Might Be Giants, so many things on Tumblr that you know, it, you know, he was just so helpful, because the They Might Be Giants Tumblr is the official, it's the official one, and John Flansburgh himself runs it. It's not like a promotional thing run by a PR firm. It's and you know, this is something that They Might Be Giants are really good at, is being hands-on with the promotion of their material. So their Tumblr, you can ask them questions on Tumblr. I don't use Tumblr a lot. In fact, I only use Tumblr to ask people questions. So I asked I took this opportunity to ask John Flansburgh as much as I could, as many questions as I could think of, and he answered just about every single one, and he gave a great answer too. So talking about people that we can't find, one of them is an animator, or what is or was an animator, who goes by the name Ewan Mitchell, EUAN, and
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so he did the videos for the songs Pictures of Pandas Painting and Rolling O. And if you try and Google that name, you find 3 different people, none of which match the description. So I just, you know, the last resort was to ask John Flansburgh about it, because John Flansburgh ended up organizing the entire DVD. And then he organizes the DVDs for Here Come the ABCs, Venue Songs, Here Come the 1, 2, 3s, and Here Comes Science. They were all authored by different people or different companies, but John Flansburgh organized everything. So, excuse me. So I asked him on Tumblr, and I asked him, "Do you know where Ewan is now?" I'll read to you his response. He says, like a bunch of our video collaborations, we worked with him long distance, and I was under the impression he was based out of London. I was actually talking to him via email about another project when there was a particularly terrible terrorist bombing on a city bus not too far from where I believe he was living. I actually never heard from him again, and have no idea what became of him. Although his disappearance and its proximity to the attack was concerning, I just had no resources to locate him, although he certainly never got back to me. So as you can see, that's really worrying.
Yeah.
So I told the person who's gonna help me edit this is my friend Lydia, and she's actually a very active fan in the They Might Be Giants fan community. So I said to her, I've been doing a bit of research on terrorist bus bombings in London in the 2000s, and one notably occurred on July 7th, 2005, which is also around the
7/7.
Yeah, which is also around the time frame that Venue Songs was being produced, and Ewan Mitchell's only project with TMBG was Here Come the ABCs. The attack killed 52, injured 700. BBC has a list of the victims whose lives were taken by Al-Qaeda that day, and I couldn't find Ewan Mitchell among them, thankfully. I just hope Ewan is out there somewhere, safe and sound. Maybe he's a geologist, maybe he's a house DJ, maybe he's a scriptwriter now. But
that is,
yeah.
God, like, he could have been injured by it. That's the possibility.
Mm-hmm.
if he's not on the list, then it's probably not like he was killed by it. That would have been an insane and very, very unfortunate twist in this.
Yeah. Like,
But
I never thought that from the 17 years it took me from listening to Here Come the ABCs in the back of my mom's car to, you know, the first sort of script drafts for this documentary that I just wanted to make out of this album, and I thought, oh, I'll do a cute little review on it, and then I'll enhance it with some interviews with the animators. I got a lot of new information that way, and I tell people this all the time. Making this documentary is such a surreal thing to me. It's so surreal, and it just feels so weird. I'm this harbinger of information now, and I have all this weight and pressure on me, and I know I have to finish it, and I have to, and I will. So, you know, so many roadblocks happened in the process of, well, actually everything that I do. But this especially, I mean, the whole virtual fire of October 2022, that was one thing. That was like 9 whole days where I just couldn't work on anything without a laptop.
yeah,
And then, you know, then there was you know, a point where I felt like, you know, I didn't want to work on it, and I couldn't work on it, and I thought this was a stupid idea. So I gave up for a while, and then, you know, my friends encouraged me, and I picked it back up, and now I'm, you know, actively pursuing it. I really, you know, this is, it's, once again, it's just so surreal to be, it's also cathartic in a way, because you're dealing with like your childhood by doing this, and I mean, I am so you know, and I'm talking about it with the animators, the people that made the videos that I watched when I was a kid, and it's that's really, really weird. That is so weird. It you know, it's so strange that even though this album was recorded, you know, pretty standard, They Might Be Giants process was standard in recording this album, and, you know, the animation was new, the animation aspect. None of their albums before this were ever given a DVD component in the way that Here Come the ABCs was, and then venue songs. But then, you know, I what, you know, like, I guess I'm very fortunate that a lot of these people were essentially freelancers, and they were very easy to get a hold of. You know, Richard O'Connor is an animator. He has his animation company, Ace and Son Moving Picture Company. And I just called the number that was on the site. I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. It'll probably go straight to voicemail. He's probably very busy. I'll probably just get a receptionist who says, you know, he can't do it. But no, I got him. I got the guy that did the videos, and he answered all my questions, and it was really, you know, it was great to talk to him. He was very helpful, and so that was on August 10th, 2022. Oh yeah, you might notice that I'm also very good with dates. Like, so, yeah, that's another thing that people mention about me, is that, oh wow, you're really good with dates there, bud. Like,
dates are important though.
Yeah, like that's the thing though, is that I like knowing dates. I like knowing when something happens. I'm good. I like numbers. I like the numbers. I like the dates. I like putting things in chronological order, and I like things in like, this happened and then this happened and then this happened, and while this was happening, this also happened. And plus, with historical accuracy, dates go a long way. And that's what I've been telling a lot of the people that I've interviewed, is that dates go a long way. So as many dates as you can find on those old hard drives, like, while we were on the phone, I had them go on their hard drives and try and find the dates for the dates of completion for the videos. And a lot of the videos were just finished in like summer of 2004, which, that seems to me that the deadline seems to have been August of 2004. And then, because an update to their website was made in September 15th of 2004, which says that the album was being completed. So that leads me to believe that Here Come the ABCs, the deadline, because Disney put They Might Be Giants on a very strict deadline. The deadline for that was August of 2004 to get all the videos in. That's what that sounds like to me. And it was originally slated for a December release, but only the promo CD came out then. So it was actually pushed back 2 months, and it came out on February 15th of 2005. But all the music was recorded in 2004. The videos were done in summer of 2004. Actually, their previous album, The Spine, that being recorded from 2003 to 2004, because they still had some tracks with their old drummer Dan Hickey on them before they replaced him with Marty Beller in April of 2004. And then so John Flansburgh told me in his very first reply to my very first Tumblr question, was that Here Come the ABCs was recorded and animated all in one big blast. So,
wow.
So, that leads me to believe that Wikipedia is wrong, and I can't edit Wikipedia. So, this documentary is also my way of getting back at the sort of weird fascists at Wikipedia. But
Wikipedia is a crazy place. I've done some stuff for Wiktionary because I'm a linguist, and they have a similar kind of thing. They like to grandfather information in without if it's okay. Wikipedia really hates personal communications, and I guess that's for good reason, right? Because if you're the only person who can get it, and if it's not published in a reputable source, then how do you know it is reputable? That's fine. That's a good thing. But, if I see information that's very obviously wrong, you can't delete it using information from a personal communication. Nor can you do that on Wiktionary. So, yeah, Wikipedia's a mess. Yeah,
because what bothers me is that the Wikipedia article for Here Come the ABCs says it was recorded from 2003 to 2004, which is wrong. So because that would have implied that Dan Hickey still has some tracks on there, which he doesn't. Actually, the only track that Dan Hickey does drums on is a song that was actually recycled from their only previous children's album, No, from 2002, a song called Clap Your Hands, which is actually one of the bonus tracks on every release, including the standard release. So, but Dan Hickey does the drum. Dan Hickey drummed with They Might Be Giants up until 2004, and that's when he was replaced with Marty Beller, who is still their current drummer to this day. But but I can't change that, even though, I could basically cite the Tumblr as a source because, it's a first person. It's obvious. It's a first, hand source, given that it is John Flansburgh answering. There's an there's a semi-official wiki called This Might Be a Wiki, which is so much better, and it's actually like really good at, you know, accounting for all the Tumblr stuff, and actually, you know, it goes in. They Might Be Giants themselves have frequently cited This Might Be a Wiki as a reputable source. So, and I've edited the wiki a few times. I've included some of my findings there. Another one of my findings that I thought was interesting was that one of the directors for the videos was a guy named David Ahuja. And I've talked to him a few times. It got weird. Like, we were on frequent text exchange, and now we're on email exchange. It's so cool. Like, I just want to mention that every single person that I've ever had any communication with in regards to this documentary, the people that I'm working with, the people I've interviewed, the people that I've, you know, even the people that I've just had some sort of, you know, passing communication with, and, you know, Lydia, who's going to help me edit this, the people that have encouraged me throughout it, they're all really, really, really cool people, really awesome people, and I can't thank them enough. David Ahuja is another one of those people. He did the video for a song called Letter Shapes, and he told me all about that. And then he said, okay, first of all, he said that he was going to find the original mini DV tapes, which he filmed the raw footage on, and send them to me, because he would never foresee that he'd ever need to use the tapes again, or never need to use see the tapes or use them again. So I thought, that's brilliant. That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you how that ended up in a minute. But then later I was, so okay, there's a song on the album called I See You, which is the letters I See You, and there are two different videos for it, one of which is animated, actually sort of animated on photo backgrounds, and that was done by Courtney Booker, and she was assisted by her friend Greg Rosum, and those pictures were taken in her apartment in Brooklyn of her couch, and then you know, she told me about that, and we know that was her work, because that's what the credits say on every release of the DVD, including the CD DVD combo pack, which has a different video that isn't the one that she did. But I asked her who did the other video, and she said she didn't know. And on a whim, I thought it was David Ahuja, because I recognized the style, because he did another video for Here Come the 1-2-3s called 7, and it looked, the style looked similar, you know, this sort of 3D kind of extrusion thing. So I on a whim, I asked him, and he said, yes, that was mine. So I said, holy shit, what? I just, that's my discovery. And so I just, you know, I edited the Wikipedia, I edited the This Might Be a Wiki articles for David Ahuja and for ICU to give him the proper credit he deserves for the alternate video, which appears on the CD DVD combo pack, which is half live action and sort of, it's mostly live action, but it's also got 3D sort of After Effects extrusion. And the reason why the reason that he pointed out that I might have found similarities to the video that he did for 7 was because he used the exact same After Effects 3D extrusion program, because he wasn't experienced with 3D modeling at the time. And so that was really just so cool to discover, especially, you know, not only firsthand, but to just it was just amazing. I asked people things. It's like, it's so revolutionary. You ask people things and they'll answer your questions.
Whoa. They made a whole field on this. Journalism.
Yeah.
That is good journalism, by the way. That is really good.
Thank you. I mean, I don't consider myself a journalist. I just think, you know.
Oh, yeah, you are.
I'm a
Yeah,
documentarian, and I'm a filmmaker, and I'm an animator, and I'm a musician. I don't consider myself a journalist, but I mean, I conduct the interviews. I Lydia's a journalist. She's like taken a whole like degree, a college university course on journalism, and she's got the Final Cut Pro experience. So I said, hey, how'd you like to? Excuse me. How'd you like to do the editing for this documentary? And she said, oh, I'd love to, this is such a passionate thing. And, I gave her frequent updates, and then she's like, oh, this is awesome. So, it's just such a great process. Wow. This is so amazing. Okay. But the mini DV tapes that I talked about earlier, the way that ended up was, David couldn't get a hold of them, and this is what he said to me. I'll pull up the email, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me letting people know this. Excuse me. But, okay, I need to find it now. I think it's in my starred. Here it is.
You could use this as a source on the wiki if you really need.
Yes, definitely.
This
because
podcast.
I'm gonna basically say everything that I'm saying in this podcast right now will be said in the documentary, so I feel that that's not necessary.
That's good. You can cite the documentary.
Yeah, that's what I plan to do. I plan to cite the documentary a bunch of times on the wiki, or better yet, just the documentary. Hopefully it'll have such an impact that people will edit Wikipedia using the documentary as a source, and they should, because, I interviewed Richard O'Connor, I interviewed Courtney Booker, I interviewed David Ahuja, I got email responses from Divya Srinivasan, I got Tumblr responses from John Flansburgh, I got an email response from Sam Henderson, really, really awesome stuff. But David Ahuja said to me on September 26th, 2022, he said, hey Charles, I went over to my storage space, and I'm afraid the original DV footage from the TMBG videos appears to be MIA. It may have been lost when I had a studio fire a few years back, or maybe got lost in the move. At any rate, it's not super exciting footage. Best to keep some mystery behind the scenes. I'm sure your doc will manage fine without it. Let me know if I can do anything else for you though, and good luck. So that's how the DV tapes ended up. But I just, once again, everything that David said up to that point, up to this point, I still have enough usable stuff to be this sort of harbinger of new information that I don't care if I don't have the DV tapes of what letter shapes that I see you, because that's, that's fine, it's just, wow. That's really...
That's a crazy story. Just that one thing. You have like 20 million crazy stories elsewhere, but yeah, that's a crazy story.
Yeah, I never thought in a million years that someone who created this video that ended up being one of the videos that was integral to my childhood, never in a million years would I think that guy would offer to give me the master tapes for that video because he didn't think he'd need them anymore.
Yeah, that is incredible. Yeah, I for like my projects, I haven't had so much luck. There's a book out there, Gates, by Stephen Maines. Stephen Maines is a great biographer of Bill Gates and a bunch of other people. He talked to and interviewed a whole lot of people in the 90s, which was a whole lot closer to the 80s. So it kind of, the information was retained better. I'm talking to people where things happened 40 years ago compared to his like 10 years ago. So he had more information, and I was like, hey, do you still have the original, like did you record these? Did you take notes? Do you still have the notes, or do you still have the microfilm? And he was like, I do, but you could not pay me to like go out and get them because they're buried somewhere deep into this, and it would be back-breaking labor. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. And I kind of gave up, so I didn't even get a chance at that. But it was the book was a fine source anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't say much. The other thing I wanted to get was at least some clarification. Because okay, a bit more context. Tim Patterson, the person who made DOS, right? He had a website with an email at one time, and the email was like, the website died in like 2017, 2018, maybe 2020, I'm not sure. It died, and the email did with it. You had to go on his LinkedIn. You couldn't contact him through the LinkedIn. He didn't have that option enabled. You had to go on his LinkedIn, then go down to his like published papers, and it would link you to a GitHub page. And it was Tim Patterson's website where he hosted stuff for his LinkedIn. It would link to all of his code on his GitHub, which is a place where people share open source code. I basically, there was no email there, but I went to one of his old projects and I opened what's called a GitHub issue. It's used when your code has like a bug or you need to alert something, or sometimes you want a new feature. I went to an old GitHub issue and I was like, hey, I don't have a contact for you, but can I ask you a question? So I asked him a question as if it was an email or a phone call through a code sharing website. And I mentioned his diary, which, because okay, he had a court case, Patterson v. Little Brown Co. 2007. Document 14-2 is an interview with him. It's like 200 pages. I read the interview. One part of it mentions a diary. The diary is like a locked document. I forgot the legal term for it, but you basically cannot access the diary. They have a copy of it in like the Washington court, and I come out and I'm like, hey, do you have a copy of this diary? Are you able to like clarify what you meant by this? Because the interviewer read off excerpts from it in this, and it's like, and he mentions a date, February 6th, 1980, and I'm like, hey, can I have any more context? And he just asked me, like, how do you know about the diary? Do you have access to it? And I'm like, no, I don't have access to it. I just really want some clarification, and he gave 0. So I have also not been lucky on that front. Yeah. So your project sounds really, really cool. Like, please finish it. I would watch that and marvel at your journalism filmography, documentarianism, I guess would be the word. That just skill. That would be amazing. Yeah, please.
Thank you. You know, it's just like I guess in the whole finding things, it's sort of, I guess I'm fortunate that David was, you know, he was willing to go out of his way to take an entire weekend to go through his storage vault and find these tapes for seemingly some random dude on the internet.
Yeah.
It's just really, you know. But as for what your research has led to, you know, I really think you should, just make something out of it. Do something creative, and I'm always willing to help. You know, I'd be willing to ghostwrite something for you, or do the sources or anything. Because I mean, like,
you get writing credits. This isn't ghostwriting. But yeah, that is
no.
That is
This
awesome.
is because this is your baby. This documentary thing is my baby, but this is the MS DOS, like, it has a niche. It has its sort of it has sort of societal niche that I think people would be interested in this. It's MS-DOS, it's sort of pivotal to the whole computer thing,
Yeah.
So I mean, if you can do something with that, please do something with it, because I'd check it out, I'd read it, I'd listen to it, I just not only just to support a friend, but because stuff like that like actually interests me. I don't know if you watch Tom Scott, but I think you'd
Yes, I do.
yeah, see, I think you'd really like it. I thought you'd really like his stuff, and turns out you do, because he goes on the linguistics, he goes on technology stuff, he just goes places and talks about things that you'd never think existed,
I don't think there's a queer person who has never watched a Tom Scott video. So, yeah, that is, Tom Scott's great. Also, I hate to butt in here. How long are your podcasts usually?
Exactly 1 hour, but since this is, no.
We're like an hour 3 now.
Well,
1.
yeah, 1 hour 1. See, the thing is, though, this is the first of this kind of format, so I'll let it slide. Plus, this conversation is interesting enough that I want to keep it going, and, maybe we can talk a little more outside of the context of this podcast anyways, because, you are an interesting person, Rhinozz. I keep wanting to say Rhinozz, because that's how I've been saying it to myself, knowing how it's spelled, like the word schnoz meaning nose, and then but I have to remember it's Rhinozz, as because you have the rhino as your profile picture right now.
Yeah.
But
I expected to go into this talking about a bunch of stuff, and we haven't even talked about music. We're both music producers. We both make music.
Oh my god, has music really taken a back seat in my life?
Yeah, no, I know your podcast usually have sections where you just play work in progress songs. Yeah, like
they're all completed. They're all either completed songs. I played one demo, once, but they're all complete. I just need to release them, and they will all be released this year. I plan to release 3 albums this year, and then 1 EP.
That's all. 3 out, jeez.
Yeah. So the nearest one is going to be on April 1st, 2023, and that's called CM. That's going to be the first album proper by the Charles Michael Narcissistic Delusion. Otherwise,
Charles Michael lore. CM stands for Charles Michael.
No, it actually means for crude misogyny, but it's
yes.
It also means cunt motherfucker, and it also means it also means
centimeters, but we don't talk about that.
It also means centipede millipede. It also means Codemasters. If you know the people that made the Game Genie. If you CM
stands.
It means whatever you want.
Media.
Yeah, CM means whatever you want it to mean.
Chief Minister of the Indian State Legislature. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Chess Master. Wow. Yeah, all of my music, so I make electronic stuff, and when you make electronic stuff, there's a lot of repetition. It's not like as human as like your indie pop punk everything electronic. Like I don't even know how to describe your genre. It's Charles Michael genre.
Well, I think I make sort of pink music. Pink music is uncategorizable music. It's like I don't
You just throw the indie label on it.
I
But,
put I
yeah.
put the indie label on it because that's what I am. I'm independent. I don't want to be signed to a record label. I don't want fame. I don't want money. I just want to do what I want to do. And if I get signed to a record label, they might prohibit me from doing that because I put out however many albums a year, at least two.
Yeah.
At least two. So,
Yeah, it's
that might inhibit me in a way. I don't want to be controlled by a record label. Goddamn, and I don't want a record label to tell me what to do. I've just heard horror stories about record labels telling artists what to do.
Record labels are bad. My kind of indie thing overlaps with a genre called hyperpop. And you've said you've heard of hyperpop.
Yeah, 100
Hyperpop
Gex, Sophie, that kind of stuff. I like that stuff.
Hyperpop also goes into like stuff. It can be basically alt rock. It can be pop punk. It can be literally anything you want. But it's usually like more leaning towards rap and stuff. I'm gonna do a little shameless self promo here.
Yeah,
it's
let's
actually not a self promo.
let's play one of your songs on this podcast right here. Let's do it.
I'm gonna link you a song, and not just any random song, because it's they're very loud. This one's not as loud.
Yeah, well,
It is
I can
loud though.
I can fix it. I can fix it when I make the podcast. I always put my music under 1 decibel. All right, we got soLOOSE Rhinozz remix. Here we go.
Yeah, this is my friend Vi 5000.
Let's hear it. That's very cool, Rhinozz.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna try really hard not to say her real name because she's told me not to do that. But okay, Vi 5000. That's who made it. She makes stuff with. I don't know if you've heard of Vocaloid.
Yes.
Yeah, she makes stuff with Vocaloid, but it's like in a style that Vocaloid would never be in, which is hyperpop. It's there are other people who do kind of similar stuff. Most people just modify their own voice. My friend Bella, she used the name Blissum BLISSOM, online. She makes also hyperpop. All the people in Bella's Discord, Bliscord, shut up Bliscord, do that stuff, or usually. They're also half linguistics, so it's half linguists and half hyperpop producers, which is an odd mix. But it works sometimes. You can also get into like the pop punk, in like more indie type of thing. My friends at Underscored, it's the Discord server for the artist Underscores, slightly bigger indie artist. Underscores makes great music, but my friends at like Underscored, they have a lot of people who make that like rock type, alt rock, pop punk thing. Shameless little half self promo. You should join Underscored and be ready for February 18th, 2023, because that's when Camp Boneyard 2 is airing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should find out. But yeah,
give me a link to the server. I'll put it in the show notes, as they call it.
Yeah, it has like 1,000 people already, but I'm doing staff for some stuff. It's a festival. Let me find the actual thing. Here it is.
You know what I want to do? I think I want to bring you in for the next one, because I think I want to cut it here, but I want to bring you... Okay, so here it is, Underscored, and I will link that in the description of this YouTube upload. So, excuse me, and...
Camp Boneyard too. There's a lot of cool people. Like I when the poster comes out, you'll see all the cool people, and if you're into hyperpop, you can recognize some of them, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to cut. I don't want to cut it. I don't want to cut it, but I have to, because I know we're 12 minutes past an hour. So here, we're going to do you want to play another song and then...
No, play one of your songs, because I like your music. So
okay, I'll play one of my songs,
and then we can finish it off after that.
Yeah. All right. So, all right.
Coyotes in the desert. Ooh, listen to them howl. Listen to the coyotes howling at the moon.
Coyote is a species of canine native to North America. It is smaller than its close relative the wolf, and slightly smaller than the closely related eastern wolf and red wolf. It fills much of the same ecological niche as the golden jackal does in Eurasia. The coyote is larger and more predatory, and was once referred to as the American jackal by a behavioral ecologist. Other historical names for the species include the prairie wolf and the brush wolf.
Coyotes in the desert, look at them starve. They're eating the cactus now, and they're dying of internal bleeding because of the cactus.
concern by the International Union for Conservation of Nature due to its wide distribution and abundance throughout North America. The species is versatile, able to adapt to and expand into environments modified by humans. It is enlarging its range by moving into urban areas in the eastern U.S. and Canada. The coyote was sighted in eastern Panama across the Panama Canal from their home range for the first time in 2013.
Coyotes in the desert. Look at them all drop to the death. Their lives weren't lived to their fullest potential. Listen to those little fuckers howling at the moon again.
The coyote has 19 recognized subspecies. The average male weighs 8 to 20 kilograms, or 18 to 44 pounds, and the average female 7 to 18 kilograms, 15 to 40 pounds. Their fur color is predominantly light gray and red or fulvous, interspersed with black and white, though it varies somewhat with geography. It is highly flexible in social organization, living either in a family unit or in loosely knit packs of unrelated individuals. Primarily carnivorous, its diet consists of mainly deer, rabbits, hares, rodents, birds, reptiles, amphibians, fish, and invertebrates, though it may also eat fruits and vegetables on occasion. Its characteristic vocalization is a howl made by solitary individuals. Humans are the coyote's greatest threat, followed by cougars and gray wolves. In spite of this, coyotes sometimes mate with gray, eastern, or red wolves, producing coy-wolf hybrids. In the northeastern regions of North America, the eastern coyote, a larger subspecies, though still smaller than wolves, is the result of various historical and recent matings with various types of wolves. Genetic studies show that most North American wolves contain some level of coyote DNA.
Coyotes in the desert. Ooh, listen to them howl. Listen to them howling at the moon one last time.
The coyote is a prominent character in Native American folklore, mainly in Artemis, America, usually depicted as a trickster that alternately assumes the form of an actual coyote or a man. As with other trickster figures, the coyote uses deception and humor to rebel against social conventions. The animal was especially respected in Mesoamerican cosmology as a symbol of military might. After the European colonization of the Americas, it was seen in Anglo-American culture as a cowardly and untrustworthy animal. Unlike wolves, which have undergone an improvement of their public image, attitudes towards the coyote remain largely negative.
All right, that was the song.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was definitely a song, and we didn't pretend it was.
Yeah.
I'll actually
Yeah,
have to.
no,
I'll
I
have to
had to
actually
listen to
play
that
you a
song.
song after this because I can't think of anything on the spot. I'm not
Yeah.
good on the spot. But all right, thank you so much for listening. This has been very fun, and
Yeah.
I'll invite you on for the next one, Rhinozz, when you have time.
Yeah. Bye-bye, Charles.
Bye.
That was fun.
All right. Bye bye.